It is Sunday, February 25th, 2024. I missed you all, but we are back with another segment of Moving Mountains, Breaking Some Barriers. Let's go.
Since the beginning, they counting this out. Just check the history, know that the system can't stop us. The paper they count came from the blood, sweat, and tears of our people. The pivot, scream greatness, and shout. Hate our existence, but really, yet truly, we hold all the power, no route. Brace yourselves when we amount, cause we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces, know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters in arms, let the power be limitless. DNA royal, not menaces, know
This show represents the opinions of the host and his guests. The content here should not be taken solely as medical advice. This show is for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare provider or professional for additional information and follow-up.
My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I
What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Happy Black History Month. I truly miss each and every one of you. I know it's been a minute, it's been a while, but I just want to let you know that failure was not an option for me. I had to execute some things so we could continue to be successful. That is the portrait that you see behind me on my wall here in the office. It is an honor, and I am so excited to welcome you back to another segment of Moving Mountains and Breaking Those Barriers. We're going to have an amazing conversation this evening, and I want you all to do me a favor, like and share this broadcast, like and share this broadcast, and follow us on the following platforms that you can see that is on the bottom of the screen. Engage with us tonight. Engage. I have not been on in a minute. I don't know what to do. I'm just so excited. I'm just ready to have this discussion tonight. A very much needed discussion and a very in such a needed time. Before we go into the discussion, I just wanted to say you can follow us on the following platforms on YouTube, which is Limitless Possibilities LLC. You can also follow us on the gram on IG, Limitless Outcomes. You can continue to follow us on Facebook, which is Limitless Possibilities, and you could also follow us on LinkedIn, Thomas Davis LPC. We have our website. You can text the talk at 844-549-1369 to receive, and you can to receive the motivational text messages, and you can visit our website. It's smaller, y'all. It's shorter. I heard your feedback. We made some changes. You can follow us at www.limitlesspsandpaul.org www.limitlessp.org. You can see the website. We have a lot of different things that are on there, and we are just excited with where we're going in 2024. Tonight, we're just going to be talking about a very serious topic. We're going to be talking about all or nothing. How many of us know that it is time for us to put our all in everything that we say that we're going to do and realize that if we don't put our all in it, nothing will come in return? But if you are listening, I forgot to do this, y'all. If you are watching tonight and you want to hop in the chat and just let us know that you here and where you are watching from, I want our guests to see you. I want to see you. I want to see your chats. I want to see where you are from. Let me know that you're here. And also, if you are watching this replay, you can still drop some comments in the chat, and we will make sure that we will respond back to you. So again, thank you so very much for watching us tonight. It has been a minute, but we're going to keep this thing moving. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. And there is a photo that is about to come up on the screen. And that photo that you are about to see says one important thing. And I want us to take some time to read the photo before I talk about it. Give you all a few moments to just look at what this says. The photo says, always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. the best is yet to come. Always remember that your present situation, whatever you are dealing with, whatever you are facing, whatever you feel that you are at discord, don't understand, don't know how to get there. How did it come to me? Why did it come to me? The who, what, when, where's, and whys. Understand that your present situation is not your final destination, and understanding that the best is yet to come. We're going to talk about the comfort zones. Tonight, we're going to have some very conversational topics. But the most important thing that I want you to get from this discussion is that when we get out of our comfort zones, then we can head towards that path of success. Some of us are complacent. Some of us have gotten too comfortable with where we are, but we're going to have an opportunity to let you know that it is okay to not be comfortable, to be a little uncomfortable, because the path to success awaits you. All right. I have an amazing panel tonight. You're going to love to hear from all of us. We all are going to have an interactive conversation tonight. And I really want you to walk away understanding. What's up, Daryl? ATL is in the house. ATL is in the house. All right, Miss Penny Davis, it's great to see you, my mom. She's watching from Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you so much for tuning in. Continue to like and share this broadcast. Tag someone in this broadcast that you know that can benefit from this discussion about putting our all into something and understanding that this hashtag, the best is yet to come, is so critical. But the panel tonight is a very dynamic panel. Aisha Smith is in the house all the way from the DMV. Mr. James Bush is in the house. He's in the DMV. And we have Mr. John Rawlins III, who's from the DMV, but is currently residing on the West Coast. But I love their brother. I love them all to death. And I'm just super excited to be able to bring them on. And we're going to have a rich discussion tonight. But there are some top 10 reasons, y'all, why people do not want to succeed. And those top 10 reasons are number one. Number one says the fear of losing yourself. Ooh, I don't want to succeed because I may lose who I am. Number two says the fear of backlash. Ooh, when you go and you do something different, sometimes people don't like it and they want to nail you up to the wall. Number three, feeling of not being good enough, but you are good enough. Number four says fear of criticisms. If they don't talk about you, that means you ain't doing something right. Let them hate, let them talk, let them say what they got to say. You keep moving. Let's keep this conversation going. Fear of spotlight. Ooh, when this ring light is shining on you, and think about that ring light, it's beaming down on you. Sometimes you got to look beyond that light to be able to get to where you know that you're going to go. Fear change. Period. Let's stop being stuck. Let's change. The next one says fear of working nonstop. Oh, fear of losing friends. If you can't be with me, I don't need you. Fear of working nonstop. You gotta know that you gotta put some things in place. And the other ones are fear of heightened expectations. The higher you go, the more expectations come upon us. And lastly, the fear of excitement. Sometimes we got to be excited for ourselves and understand that nervousness is preparing you for that next level. This is according to Forbes magazine. And I wanted to share that with you before we bring in our guests. But without further ado, it's 7:09. I said I was going to talk 10 minutes and I'm on schedule. Let's bring in Miss Aisha Smith.
Since the beginning, they counting this out. Just check the history, know that this.
What's up, Aisha? What's up?
Good evening. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing well. What is something that you are excited about discussing tonight?
Oh, when you talk about the topic, the best is yet to come. Like, we recently came into the new year, and I don't know if a lot of people did this, but I made a vision board. So it made me, this topic has made me be accountable for the things I put on that vision board. So I'm excited to talk about that, encourage others, but also hold myself accountable.
Awesome, awesome. And real quick, can you let them know what is your current profession and what you do?
I am Aisha Smith. I am LPC, NCC, which is licensed professional counselor, but also national certified counselor. I am a clinical mental health counselor in the community, but also a school-based therapist.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Miss Aisha, for being a part of this discussion tonight. Like and share this broadcast, y'all. Tag a friend. All right, my next guest is going to come on here, and this is Mr. James Bush. James Bush, come on in the house, brother.
Since the beginning, they counting this out. Just check the history, know that this is.
What up, JB?
What's going on? What's going on, man? I like the music, man. The intro is like a warlike chant, man. I like that. I like that. Man, it's nice.
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Can you tell our listening audience where are you currently at right now?
Man, I'm currently in the DMV. I'm back home. PG County product. The king of PG County is back. Now I got to say that. Yes. So, man, glad to be home. Glad to be, a matter of fact, I'm glad, man, I'm going to be with my brother later on this week, man, because we got a lot to talk about. So
definitely. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come. Yes, all or nothing. All right, James, tell us, yo, like, what is something that you're really excited about talking about tonight?
I mean, I think this just conversation that we're having about being uncomfortable. I've said to people before that sometimes comfort is the enemy of progress. And so sometimes when we're so comfortable in our comfortable settings and things like that, we don't try, we don't push, we don't test ourselves. And when we don't test and we don't push ourselves, we can never see what the Creator has meant for us. If anybody knows about athletics, I mean, I didn't major in sports, but I grew up in sports. And so you have to have some form of resistance. Resistance is what breaks down those muscles so that you can build bigger muscles. But if you're not willing to have that resistance, then you will still have the same olive oil string bean that you've always had in life. And for many of us, we've seen and we've heard about the visions and the dreams and the goals that others have enjoyed. Now it's time for us. But until we are willing to embrace that resistance, we will never see those things, and our communities will ever be impacted and affected.
Well, okay. We're going to move right on along. Bring on Mr. John Rawlins, because I know he got a message in the back. John, come on in, brother. Come on in.
Since the beginning, they counting this out. Just check the history, know that the system can't.
I was sitting back here listening to the sermon over here about to start putting out tithe money and stuff. That was me.
John, tell us where you are and tell us where you are and what you're currently doing.
Good evening, everybody. I am currently out in what usually is very sunny, but today it's a little cloudy, San Diego, California, but still a good day. Still a very good day. Currently, I've been working in higher education almost 20 years, Lord Jesus. But currently working at the University of California, San Diego in our equity, diversity, and inclusion area. So, yeah.
Ooh, we got some DEI people in the house. We got some social workers in the house. We got some clinicians in the house that are all qualified to have this discussion that we are about to embark upon. Are you ladies and gents ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do this.
Let's get ready to rumble. Hey. So I honestly, y'all, when I tell y'all, I've been like this all day. When I do live shows, I isolate myself because I want to have a clear head. I want to have a clear mind. I don't need no distractions. I want to present my full all or nothing self. When I pose this question to you guys, I wanted to have some discussions about why do we know for a fact that it is important to give your best self, even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, even when we can't accept it. But we got to understand that it is important for us to give our all in or nothing. And understand that when we give our all, and before I go further, I got this message today. This is why you got to be careful of what Forbes said, fear of being criticized. So a lot of people said, Thomas, I want to watch your show tonight, but I feel like that you're going to break out the best is yet to come gospel song. No. Maybe that's what you need to hear in order for you to understand that maybe the best is yet to come, because you ain't seen nothing yet. But I didn't even do that. And when I saw that text message, I went and I overlooked it, because sometimes you got to position yourself to not allow things that are around you, that is called distractions, to keep you from going forward and understanding that the best lies within you. So I made this topic because I know James, I know Aisha, I know you, John. You guys going to tell us why we know that the best is yet to come. What resonated with you, Aisha, when I said, let's have this discussion?
Like I mentioned, it's the accountability piece. Like, of course, we're here to empower others, but sometimes it's hard to do when you don't have motivation. And when you can see that the people that you look to for encouragement and leadership and, just support are also people that can admit that we also need to be consistent on our own tracks of our own gratefulness and our own greatness. Like, it's a big thing. So when you gave that topic, also, this is my first year being in the school system, so I'm learning more about students and children as a single mom, and just learning more about children and how we have to encourage them differently. Like, you just got to meet people where they are. We all have something that we're trying to accomplish together on this planet every single day. And unless you meet someone where they are to help them reach that, no matter how small the goal is, if you don't show that understanding, you're just not going to help them reach it. So what is our purpose?
John,
it was a double fold topic for me. So I thank you for it.
John, talk to us, brother.
Funny enough, I feel like I am in one of those seasons where I'm starting to experience some of that, right? Some of this kind of unexpected doors opening, those unexpected opportunities. Even this particular week has been really interesting, right? But I think part of that is because I am now open to allowing that to happen, right? I am not in the same place where I was kind of you don't want to see those things, right? You don't want to believe those things could happen. Sometimes you look around and you see other things happening for friends, family, colleagues, enemies, right? But you don't necessarily believe that for yourself. And I feel like I'm in one of those spaces now. So that was part of the reasons why this, got me excited about this. And also my hope tonight is that we really are able to encourage somebody as they're on their journey. Because I know what it means to be in that valley experience. I know what it means low. But now to kind of feel like you're edging towards or creeping up this mountaintop, to have one of those experiences as well. So, I mean, even right now, just to encourage somebody to hang on in there, to keep on pushing, to keep on moving, I think we'll have hopefully some words tonight that we can share with folks that will inspire them and encourage them to keep on pushing and moving those mountains, breaking those barriers to getting to their best.
Love it. Love it. James, talk to us, James. Talk to us.
I mean, how can I top Aisha and John's? I mean, what I think about as far as when it comes to the best is yet to come, I'm looking at a people that were pillaged from their land and brought over on a sea cruise and, man, enslaved for over 300 some odd years, but yet, man, took the scraps, took the load, took the last of everything and made a meal out of it. The best is yet to come. I'm looking at people, man, who didn't have any education, but yet were CEOs within their own communities, man, and were able to empower, educate, and inform other individuals to be better. So the best is still yet to come. I'm looking at individuals, man, who took what they have and made something out of nothing. The best is still yet to come. And so what I say to that is that we know from our clinical training and background is that younger individuals, they are watching the models that are before them. I, like many other individuals, I watched Walter Payton. I watched Michael Jordan, not just basically for their physical attributes, but for their work ethic, their premise, their mindset, how they view and they approach life. So then that's what I said, I can do the same thing. I watched the African-American male become the president of the United States when people thought it was unconscionable. So the best is still yet to come. My point to you all is that we have these opportunities in front of us, but it's our premise, our mindset that helps guide us there. And when it guides us there, then there's nothing that we cannot do on this earth.
I left my choir robe at home because these two right here, I was at Bedside Baptist this morning, but right now, I mean, he bringing me in person right now. That's all I'm
Wow. Yo, if you are watching the show, you can chime in. Like the question is simply this. When you think about what it means when they say and when we say the best is yet to come, and it is so important to give all or nothing, throw it in the chat. Like what do you mean? Like what does it mean to you when we say the best is yet to come, all or nothing? Throw it in the chat, throw it in the chat, throw it in the chat. Aisha, I'm over here taking notes. You said that it is important for us to be accountable. John, you said that it was also important for us to allow ourselves the spaces and places to be open for new opportunities and new advancements. James, you said without knowledge, we lack power. It is important for us to educate ourselves and understanding where we come from and the shoulders that we stand upon. But what does it mean when we have all of this openness? We feel like we need to educate ourselves. I have to be accountable to what I do, but I also don't feel like I belong. There are a lot of people that are living in 2024 who feel that they don't have a place, a space, and don't belong. We're going to help y'all tonight. So when you think about how do you have all of these skill sets, all of these wonderful attributes and characteristics, but you still don't feel like that you belong anywhere. James, how do you define belonging?
Well, who do you belong to? I mean, that's important because when you are called to be a world changer, when you are called to be the individual that is to break the mold or so like that, you don't belong. You're supposed to fit out so that others can fit into the mold that is supposed to be in front of them. My point to any individuals is that, look, your journey is your journey. Your path is your path. One of the things that I will be transparent about myself is that I used to always look to measure myself up with other therapists, other clinicians, other doctors, other individuals, and follow their mold when their mold was fit for them. It was not fit or placed for me. So when I found out, okay, who I am, I love baseball caps. I love Jordans. I love sneakers. I might come, but then again, another time, I like to go on a fit. I'm a wild card. I talk loud. I talk man educated. I talk informed. I talk like I'm from M-Town as well too. My point being is that this is who I am. And when I am being who the creator made me to be, then I fit right where I need to be. But for some, they think that because they don't line up with the populace, that man, maybe they are missing the boat or missing the mark. But the thing is, when you are walking within your purpose, all the individuals will be drawn to you because why? Your gifting speak for themselves. So I encourage each and every one of you guys, and ladies and sisters as well too, is to, man, walk in your own lane. No matter how weird, how unbelievable it is, how off it may be. And when you do that, then you will see some of the greatness just ooze out of you. It will be seamless. It won't even have to be a trouble or a trial or a hard push situation. I'm a willing witness of that.
John.
You know, it's funny because I was having this conversation yesterday. We had our Black History Month scholarship brunch here at UC San Diego. And one of my closest friends, Damian Sneed, came on campus and talked. And you know Damian. And one of my students basically asked this question, right? What do you do when you feel like you don't belong? And so I'm not taking credit for this answer because Damian said this very loud and clear, and I think it's going to help somebody. He said a lot of times when you feel like you don't belong somewhere, that is a signal that there's somewhere else for you to go. You've got comfortable in a space. Maybe this space is not challenging you enough, and there is something for you to get, but you got to get it somewhere else, right? And a lot of times when we settle into comfort, when we settle into places where, you know, we feel like we got it all. We're not learning anything. We're not growing. We're not developing into whatever is coming next. So when you feel like you don't belong, in all honesty, that might be the signal that something's got to change. That's where you need to kind of center yourself. For those of us who are people of prayer, this is when you get on your face and you pray to the Lord. For those that maybe not, whoever you pray to, whoever you talk to, however you feel like you get your instruction to move to your next, to figure out where to go, that is what you need to do, because realize there is, like you said, James, there is a lane for you. There is somewhere that you're supposed to be, and all you got to do is seek it out. All you got to do is figure it out. And sometimes, again, this is where you really got to figure out, okay, this looks like a place maybe where I should be. Let me explore it. Let me be open to the possibility of, right? When I moved to California 5 years ago, I didn't know anybody here. I didn't move here anticipating like, oh yeah, I'm going to hang out with this person, and this is going to be, I didn't know anybody here. 5 years later, you could not tell me that I don't belong here, right? Because I found my community, I found my lane. I've been able to not only get and receive things, but I am leaving my mark and leaving my perspectives and doing things that I never thought I would do before, right? And I know now, I not only do I belong, but there is purpose in me being here. I just have to come out here and figure it out. You know, I laughed because in the beginning, Thomas, you said he's out on the West Coast. And a lot of people, family, friends, I think with the best of intentions, were nervous or didn't want me to leave because they were good and comfortable with me being in the DMV. And I was good and comfortable with me being in the DMV. But the growth that I've had since leaving the DMV is going to take me so many different places and maybe even eventually bring me back to the DMV stronger, better, and able to leave more. So when you figure out how to move outside of your comfort zone, realize there's some incredible things on the other side.
Wee. Aisha.
The amazing thing, yet again, that they both John and James spoke to had a part to do with just faith, just outside of us. So with belonging, it's this thing in that part of your belly that you feel real bad every day when you wake up, that you feel like I just gotta do. Like that's that passion, that's that belonging, that's that being. And when you feel that and you recognize it, because you gotta learn it. You know, we have a whole bunch of anxiety around it until we accept it. We get all this depression around it until we accept it. Like, child, you're supposed to be a minister. You're supposed to be a CEO of a mental health agency, a core agency. You're just going to do it. You're going to listen to that that feeling in your belly. But sometimes we just have to also accept those that we have in place as our supports. If you have to reorchestrate that to make sure that that is supporting your place of belonging, sometimes we have to rearrange that. Because you lose sight of your belonging too when everybody else don't play a piece in that same understanding, that same desire, that same worthiness, that same amount of just everythingness. I don't even know how else to word that, but when sometimes we have to have people around us that recognize our beauty and our belonging too. So you may not always learn it on your own, but you got to trust that you have the people around you too that can tell you that baby, that direction is not for you. But this, what you're doing right now, oh my goodness, I see your belonging all over it. And so I said it to say that sometimes we get hard on ourselves because we can't always see it. So you got to trust who you have around you as well, and keep reorganizing it to make sure that you know where your belonging is, what your passion is, where you're supposed to be in life.
Wow. Justin posted a comment in the chat, and I want to give him a shout out. Thank you, Justin, for always watching. Justin stated, "Go where you belong and sit, SIT, at that table that is reserved for you." Sometimes we feel like that we don't meet the qualifications, the specifications, the illuminations, and all those great nations, but we restrict ourselves because we don't allow ourselves to see the opportunity that is before us. Thank you, Justin, for that reminder. Also, if you Google the word belonging, it says the feeling and the feeling of security, support, when there is a sense of acceptance, inclusion, and identity for a member of a certain group. And even in that definition, I agree with you, Aisha. Sometimes you have to make those pivots. You have to make those adjustments because you may have outgrown that particular group. You may have outgrown that particular way that you hang out. And your sense of belonging, sometimes when we feel that we don't belong, is because we have outgrown that, which means that we have to elevate and get to that next level. So I thank you all for that question. But when we think about belonging, this is something that I'm going to do a little bit of self-disclosure. Sometimes we as therapists, we as counselors, we disclose some of the things about who we are as a person, because that's how individuals are able to understand that they are not in this thing alone. They got someone that they can identify with. Thomas Lamont Davis, and this is recorded, has had to come to the conclusion that if I want certain things in my life, I have to do what James said a few moments ago and understand the place that is for me. I can't compare my success, my growth, to how James runs his business and his organization. I can't be who other people want me to be. I have to understand, and I had to understand that in order for me to get to that next level, I had to be comfortable with what you see here. And sometimes that requires us to go in silence. So to all of my friends and my foes that haven't heard from me, stop taking it personal. It wasn't about you. To the ones that I loved and you didn't hear from me for months and weeks and I was sporadic, it's nothing personal. I had to find where I belong, because if I want to be an effective person, and this is not about being a business owner, this is about being a visionary and a positive influencer. Before I wanted to come back on this set, I had to clean up Thomas. So for everyone that is watching and you took something personal, it wasn't about you. It's never about you.
Right.
I had to shift my mindset. I had to make a cognitive shift. I had to make a behavior shift. I had to shift, period. And that is the next question. When we think about what all or nothing is, we have to understand the importance of making those shifts, because I can't get to the end if I'm still doing the same thing that I was doing in 2004. So I'm going to start with you, Aisha. When we shift our mindsets, what does that look like?
Oh my goodness. It's the most intentional, it's a hard thing, because one is it's acceptance, right? It gotta be you being honest with yourself to say that we're making this change.
Yes.
The new year, everybody said, I want to lose 50 pounds, whatever. Are you going to do it? Or are you just saying you want to do it? Like, you want it for yourself, but
Right.
Are you really ready to make the intentional change every morning, waking up an hour earlier to get on that treadmill, get on that elliptical, to make that change? It's so
Right.
hard. It's so dirty to change your mindset. It's you have to do some, like you said, Thomas, you have to do some dumping
Right.
before you're ready to rebuild. And changing your mindset is all about rebuilding.
Right.
It's recreating a part of yourself and accepting what needs to change and being ready to do it. Do the hard work, the dirty hard work.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. James, talk to us. When you think about mindsets, what does that mean?
When I look at mindsets, I look at the thing called positive affirmations. Those I am statements. I am. And science teaches us that when we say these positive affirmations, something happens. The neural pathways begin to change within our brain. Neural patterns will become altered. So with that being said, is that we change the thought, we change the action, which CBT says. So with that being said, is that when you start to affect how you think about certain items in life, your approach changes, your walk changes, your talk changes. So then let's take it to a practical nature. It's how when you get up in the morning, you say, okay, before I want to sleep in a little bit later. Now you're thinking about, I don't have time to sleep in later because there's things that I want to do. I don't have time to sit on the telephone with Joe, Craig, and any of those other individuals because I've got stuff to do. I mean, now I've got to write up my speech. Now I've got to do my lives. Now I've got to work out. Now I've got to feed myself positivity in those low moments, because once I'm starting to do that, I notice that there's a shifting that is happening and taking place in my life. But until I make that intentional effort and I become more self-aware, I will forever remain the same person that I was year after year. So my vision board sits on my nice little refrigerator. It's a Samsung with the touchscreen and everything like that, but it's got brown curls and everything like that because, man, the tea, sweet tea, the Coca-Cola, the water, everything has dumped on my vision board, and now I'm no better for it. And then there is no vision coming to pass in that. It all starts with us in the beginning. and
Wow.
it ends with us as well too.
John?
Well, first of all, James just made me give the dirtiest look to that white refrigerator across the room.
Somebody get James out of here.
Okay, let me tell you something. Listen, I really was like, oh, white refrigerator. No, listen, that mindset piece is so important. And actually to kind of take a quick step back to something that you were talking about, Thomas, a lot of times when we talk about, belonging and being in certain places and spaces, a lot of times we talk ourselves out of spaces because we've defined what it means to be in a space, even though the actual definition or the actual qualifications are ones that we meet or already exceed. But we've convinced ourselves that we don't have anything near what is needed in that space. And again, we talk ourselves out of it. Folks will even tell you, oh, I need, I thought about literally this. We talked about this yesterday, me and Damien, when Damien called me, this was about 10 or 12 years ago now. He called me to go on tour with Wynton Marsalis, right? And I was like, I am a church singer. I sing in choirs. I don't know why you want me on anybody's tour. I went to the first.
Prove it.
I've been singing. That's why my voice sounds like this right now, Aisha. I've been singing all day. Listen, I got you though. And I literally said, we went to the first rehearsal, right? And they gave you this big, thick book of sheet music. Now I don't read music to sing. I can play some. I used to be able to play music, but not to sing. And so at the end of the rehearsal, I said, "Hey, Damien, this was really nice. I really appreciate you, but I can't do this." And I was giving him the book back, and he pushed back on me. He said, "No. I need you here. This is not. I didn't ask you, could you read music? I didn't call you and say, confirm to me that you can sing and read. And that way, no, your voice is needed in this group. And I know that you can figure this out and make it work. You are qualified to be here. So don't think otherwise, right?" And a lot of times, again, we create these own definitions of why. So when we talk about the shift of mindset, we need to make sure that, one, like James said, we understand and value who we are, right? We affirm ourselves, right? And so if we're able to start thinking more highly of ourselves, when we're able to say, you know what, I deserve to be here, or the experiences I have are valid in this space, and we shift that mindset, a lot of times it's not about the other folks. The doors are probably sometimes open. We just don't want to walk through them. But if we change that mindset and we shift our thinking a little bit, it will be easier for us to accept the things that are not just already in front of us, but the things that are coming to us.
Wow. Dwayne says sometimes you have to get out of your own way. And a lot of times we are not successful and we don't succeed in life because we are stuck in what we think that we should be at. So I'm looking at the time, y'all, and I want to get through the meat of the conversation. So we're going to go down to a next, further down in this discussion. I said to you guys, my mantra personally is that I'm going to give all of Thomas Davis in 2024. It's going to be all or nothing. What you see is what you're going to get. What you get is what you're going to see. It ain't going to change. It's not going to deviate, because at the end of the day, I must tell you, and I've never done this, and John and James and Aisha, you can attest to this, but I am going to invite you to come down to 1436 U Street, come to Suite 401, and I want you to look at what staying the course looks like. I want you to witness what all or nothing and what the best and how the best is yet to come looks like. I'm not going to talk about it. I want you to come and see it. So I am opening up the opportunity for you to get in your cars, get in your trains. I would lift you here to come and see what examples of being in it, being here 12, 13 to 14 hours can manifest into the best is yet to come. But when we think about that, y'all, this is the next question. We put all into all of our Thomas, yeah, you say, wow, it's all or nothing. This great. But what happens when we see disappointments? When we feel lonely? When we begin to compare ourselves to these influencers? What happens in these moments? because this is what I wanted us to talk about tonight. Because what we are living and seeing in 2024 on the 25th of February is individuals who are disappointed, individuals who don't feel like they can accomplish anything, and they connect themselves with false ideologies and false influences. Who wants to start first? I see James, I see Aisha smiling. Who wants to go? James, go ahead and start.
So something that I looked at when you talk about false influencers and things along those lines, something that I taught on recently was the 4 A's of stress, which we're talking about: avoid, alter, adapt, and accept. And so when we start to look at that thing, we start to also look at the fact is that in one of those A's, which we're talking about adapting and altering, we learn to be more assertive. We learn to accept things as well too. We learn to adjust our expectations, but we also are learning to look at the bigger picture. Your bigger picture is not relegated to a influencer. Your bigger picture is not relegated to an individual who's killing it in the game, because it may be just their time. Celebrate them, but also know we can't clap for too long because you got work to do. And so that's my thing in that, is that we have to begin to continue to have an open mindset. A guy that taught me some of this thing, he said, like, you don't have to agree with what everybody is doing, but when you keep an open mind, you can understand how they got to the result that they did get to. That's part of being a therapist, a clinician. So what I say to those individuals is that look at the bigger picture. What are you supposed to be doing? Let's not get so settled or beside it or distracted by another individual in their success, in their heyday, because it just may be their time, and everybody has their moment. But when you start to run your own race, when you walk in your own shoes, not the ones that are 2 sizes smaller for you, but yours that have been tailored and crafted, and in that Kairos moment, everything lines up. It's beautiful.
Ooh. Aisha, loneliness, fear, failure. Talk to us.
Those are all just really hard things that I think at the core of us that we expect first. We don't ever just wake up and just expect the success automatically. If I didn't learn anything else through the whole like COVID transition and understanding that pandemic, was resilience. Like, people, and no shade, but most importantly, Black people dug deep to recognize what they had and what they could do and what they were capable of. And that level of resilience, it's unfortunate it took us to have a universal crisis to even come to that understanding. But that's that part when you dig deep, when you get in that survival mode. Like, when you're already thinking about failure, you're already thinking you can't succeed, but then you think about somebody else, you lean on something else, your kids or your pastor or your grandmama, your mama, somebody to make you believe like there's a little bit more here. And so those feelings of loneliness, we could turn loneliness into an opportunity to business plan a little bit longer, to have an opportunity to budget a little bit better, to have an opportunity to pray a little bit more, to have opportunities to do a little bit more because there's nobody else distracting your space. We could turn loneliness around. But it's based on how we think about it. Like, when you want to be miserable, you're going to be miserable. But again, when you change that mindset and you're very intentional about just being who that bigger picture is that you want to be, what type of resilience is it going to take to become that? Like, how do we paint that picture? How do we become that picture from foot to head? It's just a lot of hard work. So all of those things we can turn around. They don't have to be negative. Loneliness doesn't have to be negative. That could be a lack of stress, because you don't have anybody that you're worried about out there cheating on you all night long. You could be writing down those visions and getting that stuff together, baby. You don't have to worry about it. We could turn loneliness around. Loneliness is okay, if you ask me. I'm a single mama of a 3-year-old hard-headed boy. Child, I love the loneliness because it's good for him. And we're going to keep getting better. So it's just about your mindset and those intentions. I have a butterfly on my wall across my office that says, be kind to your mind. And there's several butterflies around it. And it just has to be about the mindfulness. You have to be intentional in your mind every day, every second, to know that you will succeed. Even if you don't know what you're succeeding at yet, but you got it. Just know it. That's it. I don't want to be a preacher like John.
John, go ahead. I ain't gonna say nothing.
It's too late for not wanting to be a preacher because you just preached the sermon just now. I'm just trying to tell you. I mean, and that is that whole be kind to your mind piece. Listen, that's like points 1, 2, and 3 of a sermon right there. But seriously, I mean, I think one of the things when I think about, like you said, disappointment, failure, loneliness, comparison, right? What I always have to do when I get to that place, I will say always have to do, what I have learned to do over time, because there was a time where I just let that be in control, right? And you fester in it and you wallow in it and nothing shifts, nothing moves, nothing budges, right? And then again, like I think James, you said a year later, you still in the same place. So what I had to do to get out of that was one, all right, what is the root of this disappointment? Why am I actually disappointed, right? And yeah, sure, I can compare it to somebody else that I think I see, or again, not knowing their full story. I'm just comparing the shallow pieces of what I know, not knowing the actual things that are happening in their lives, right? What is the root of the failure? What is the root of my loneliness? And once I'm able to identify what the root of it is, then we game plan and say, how do I get out of that? How do I shift? How do I change? Right? Because that you have to be able, once I know that maybe there's bitterness, right? Bitterness is what's causing my loneliness, right? I'm lonely because I have not been opened up to somebody else because of a past hurt or a past experience, right? Was it Music Soul Child, one of my favorite songs? I am not to blame for the pain that was caused by previous cats. Okay. But sometimes we don't address that, right? Once we're able to address and see, this is why I feel lonely, right? So what am I going to do to shift that, right? I'm going to let that go. I'm going to not always assume that individuals are going to just treat me in the same way just because somebody treated me that way before. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to treat me that way moving forward. Now I'm going to open myself up to the goodness that people have. I'm going to allow people to show me who they are, of course, right? And when I see and recognize this is about to take a wrong turn because I've been over here before, we're going to pivot and go another way, right? Or this is actually good. I'm going to keep myself open to what this is and allow myself to receive that good thing. I'm going to allow myself to receive the great things that are coming. But again, you got to get to the root of whatever it is that is making you stop. Again, it's not even necessarily people around you. Everybody else is living their life. We always get that with the kids call it that main character energy. I don't know why these things do this, all this excitement.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's perfect.
You shoot fireworks.
It's right.
That was hilarious, right? But it's one of those things where we always get this like main character energy where we acting like everybody's just watching us and everybody's responding, reacting to us. But that's just us in our own head. And sometimes we're not even responding and reacting to our own selves. We just worried about everybody else. Figure out what the root is, address it, and move forward.
Y'all don't be off script. I don't even care. We're going to go with what we got left. Jasmine, keep me on time. John, you said something that is key.
Something. Something,
Aisha.
someone, something. John needs to be banned from MTV.
Can I tell y'all this? What John said is the main reason why all of us who are streaming, who scrolled up and said, oh, well, they talk about the same thing, to the ones that don't even know, we are our worst critic. We worry about trying to please what everyone else has to say, what they think. You can make sure that you have on a shirt. You want to make sure that when you walk out your house, someone looks at you and says, nice shirt. At the end of the day, you have to wake up in the morning and look at yourself and say, Thomas, nice shirt. We put too much emphasis and you give people too much power over you.
Yes.
I would not, ladies and gents, be here tonight if I allowed the power of the criticism that Forbes talked about, the spotlight that Forbes talked about, if I allowed my speech impediment and my country slur get the best of me. And it's not the fact that it's them that's getting the best of you, it's us. Those affirmations, those strategic plans, those visions, those things that you have on your refrigerator, James, those things that you have on your wall, Aisha, those songs that you sing on Sundays, John, we got to also do what? You got to live it.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is not just on this wall because it looks good. Execute is not on this wall because it sounds good. Success is not on this wall because it's a motivator. I have to understand I grow from my life lessons. I have to understand that as a business owner, if I don't execute a plan, nobody's going to follow you. And if I don't believe that I am successful, not one person that walks in this office is going to believe that. And this is why it is important for us in 2024 to do all of nothing. And something that ticked me off, but I may get banned from StreamYard. Look at an Instagram post that was posted the other day when someone says it's too dark in here, but all I can see is what? I'm gonna leave that alone. From your president that used to be in office. If we don't believe that it is time for us to stand up and stick out and fight for what's right, and believe that your voice is more than important than the color of your skin, you gotta use your voice and talk. You gotta stop being in bondage. John, Aisha, James, I'm gonna ask you this one question. What is something that you want to motivate the people about? Because I'm going to shut all the way up before I get in trouble. Aisha, what do you want to motivate the people about?
You know, first of all, I feel like I've been at a sermon, and I'm never doing bedside Baptist again because I have paid for it. But the biggest motivator is just understanding who you are. We've all talked about things that just start at the core, either how you fix it, how you feel about something, how you, just prosper through. But it's just like, who are you? Like it has to be a level of confidence, a crown that you put on your head every day when you wake up and you move outside of your bed, whether you're still in the house or in your home. But who do you want to present yourself as? Who do you want to be? Who are you? What is the mission? Who are you impacting? Those constant reminders, I believe, are going to be the continual motivators that help us be who we need to be. And I'm adding myself into this, not just the people that are watching. We all have to be reminded, though, daily, like, why? What is your why? What is the why for every season of life?
James, how do you encourage and empower others?
Tell them to get out of your head. That's how I encourage individuals. I tell them, stop comparing yourself. I share my story, doing speaking engagements, and then you see others do theirs, and everybody's clamoring around them and gathering and attaboy and patting them on the back and saying, well, job done. You do yours. Nobody comes to you. You can't compare that. That's more effort and more force for you to keep going and walking in line with what you're doing, because some people talk, but then some people are felt. And I want to be felt.
Wow. John, in times that we are living in these times, why is all or nothing so critical?
It's critical because time is out for us half doing what we need to do and then complaining that we're not where we need to be. Right? It is time for us to, and here's the real thing. There's so much that each of us offers, right? Individually, right? And think about that, right? Even when you were talking earlier, you said, your country slur and all that kind of stuff. Like for me, I always, especially with my students, I'm telling them, like, you stop comparing yourself, because the things that make you unique are the things that are going to make you shine, are going to make you stand out, and are going to really help somebody else on their journey, because there's somebody that needs to see you doing what you do. They don't need to see somebody else doing it. They need to see the way that you do it. And that will not only encourage them that they can do it, but it will encourage them that they can do it with whatever it is that they have that makes them unique. Right. So for me, it is time for us to live fully, like you said, Aisha, accept who we are, embrace who we are, right? James said it. Stop comparing ourselves, stop downing ourselves. And honestly, James, what you were saying, I think was my final point. I'm at the place in my life, I'm done just talking about these things. I'm done just pontificating on what could be. I'm going to live. That's what I want people to see. Right? I want people to see me living the life that I want to live. I want people to see me living in my truth, living into my potential. And that's what's going to encourage them the most, right? The best sermons are not the ones that are preached, but the best sermons are the ones that are seen.
And lived.
And
experienced.
That part.
That's your final thought, John? All right. Aisha, what's your final thought? 30 seconds.
I'm going to go pray. That's it. That's my final thought. I'm going to go pray. I'm going to get my life together for the week. I'm going to go pontificate, like John said, for the week ahead.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that was funny to me.
James,
I love it.
You got any final words, brother?
Backstage.
There you go.
They brought me back on. Hey, look, once again, thank you, man, TD, for this platform, for putting us on, for doing this work. Thank you for your tireless efforts, man. Keep going. Peace and blessings to you. If you all want to check me out, Google James Bush Nashville. You'll see.
Yes. Thank you all for being a part of this discussion today. For those that was texting me while I was on live, I got your message. Aisha, John, and James, I've been receiving text messages that said, Thomas, this is your panel. Thank you all so much. Can we give them a round of applause for being on tonight? For those that are watching, I appreciate you so much for tuning in on this segment of Move Mountains, Break Barriers, and understanding that it is important to give your all and understand that the best is yet to come. There is a quote that I want to post that I would like to show on the screen, and it says, do all the good you can. By all means you can, in all of the ways you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. If you think about, if you see what's on the screen, those last two words says what? You can. Thank you for the effects, StreamYard. At the end of the day, you have to believe that you can do all of those things that you see on the screen. But look, thank you all again for tuning in. That's a quick Thomas Bar. That was not what I wanted to say, but we had a rich, fluid discussion. But I'm excited. If you want to continue to sponsor, if you want to continue to support this show, if you want to continue to do the things that you're doing, there are sponsorship opportunities that will be coming up on the screen. I am excited as we talk about influencers, as we talk about what is about to happen for us at Limitless Possibilities. I am excited, y'all, that coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to have some conversations coming up on live next month. John, get ready. We're going to be talking about March, which is Health is Wealth. Talking about the importance of getting our bodies together, being healthy, understanding the needs of that. In April, James, Aisha, John, you coming back because we're going to talk about those influencers, those IG influencers, and talking about who are we subscribing to. Yes, James, I know your schedule. We're going to make it work. I know you're busy in April. And in May, we're going to do a Mother's Day special, where we're going to have all of the leading ladies on discussing what does it mean to be a mom in 2024. But before I get off, there is an event that's coming up. We have two major events coming up. The first event is that we're going to have our second annual fundraising gala to raise funds for mentoring and for tutoring for limitless endeavors. We also going to be doing some men and women support groups. And finally, we're going to have our youth come here next month to this event that's called Respect the URL. And this event is going to be tailored to individuals that we're going to be teaching them the effects of social media, how to effectively use social media, how to respond to cyberbullying, how do you effectively delete, alt, and control what you subscribe to. So this is all limitless endeavors, limitless possibilities in a nutshell. I said it and I'm exiting on time. Thank you, Jasmine. I love you, and continue to do all or nothing because the best is yet to come. Thank you for watching Move Mountains, Break Barriers, and I'll catch you next month. I love you.
Limitless. My heart vast in blackness, defined by our past, persevere through the obstacles, pain and our laughter, but let me get back to what matters. Cap up my brother, no reason to clap him. Uplift my kinfolk, we shooting for Saturn. No one left behind when we climbing this ladder. My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That's fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see. Feel all the power that lies within thee. Black kings and queens who we will and shall be. Know that we bleed and breathe royalty. Love with the loyalty glow got me loving myself. Black skin my cover is hugging myself. Live for the mental.